Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conservatish episode 242. My name is Peter Feliciano, and I am the most prolific bald Puerto Rican in Austin, Texas. I'm the most famous bald Puerto Rican in all of Austin, Texas, on the west side of Austin, Texas, who also performs music. Wherever you're listening or watching this live stream, make sure you subscribe, share, rate, review. If you don't do those things, you're racist, and I hate you. But I can't stay mad at you. I can't stay mad at you. If you want to get back in my good graces, titty pics. You can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. You can find me on TikTok, I guess. I don't give a fuck about TikTok. No offense to the Asian in the room. And you can find me on Twitter at Rule62Peter. The wonderful James R. Real Person Politics is here, ladies and gentlemen. Yay. Thank you so much, James, for joining me. You've been on the show now twice. This is now your third time, actually. And I'm really excited to have this conversation. But before we get into it, please promote yourself and tell people where they can support you and find you.
Yeah, so my number one home away from home is Twitter. You can find me at Real Person PLTCS. I am sort of ubiquitous, though. My normal video streaming platform is dlive.tv/Real Person PLTCS. You can go to my personal website, tavshow.com. And yes, if you don't subscribe, you are racist, because this is a double racism show right here. I think, did you say we're on Instagram right now? This might be my first appearance ever. Oh, okay, no. So I still haven't appeared over on Instagram.
I really wish you could, because that's my main vehicle. I know your main vehicle is Twitter. I'm starting to ramp up a little bit more, especially hail Elon for making it a sweeter place. But yeah, your main thing, you're on tavshow.com, and you're also on at Real Person PLTCS. Absolutely. So much. You do a weekly show I have been on many times called Pirate Radio, which I adore. I love all your fans. And I always have a blast going over there. What I really appreciate, though, because I am the, as you call me, the cultural attaché to Pirate Radio.
The very fancy title for a bald Puerto Rican.
How dare you? And when that happens, you know, I'm happy to, because anytime I'm in the room with y'all on Pirate Radio, I always feel like, wait, what are they talking about? Like, I'm like, wait, at least 2 or 3 times a show, I'm like, wait, who is that? And it's like you're like talking with fervor about this fucking piece of shit congressperson, and I'm like, I don't even know. I've never heard the name. I don't know what state they're in. I don't even know, you know, how many seats there are. All I know is I talk about culture shit. I talk about music. I talk about fucking. I talk about Trump. I talk about race. I talk about joking. I talk about that's my niche. So when things come up, especially we just had an election, and I was like, I need my political attaché. I need my Conservatish needs it's law-minded, incredibly intelligent, and also you're funny too, but also to tell us what the actual breakdown of what the fuck happened last week. Because I got to be on the Friday after the election, 2 weeks ago now, I guess. I got to be on, and we talked about Arizona, and we talked about a myriad of other things. Because so often, I know I'm just jumping into it, but fuck it. So often, on the right or on the non-left side, I've seen people like downplay the red wave, downplay this, downplay that, and just be whiny little fucking, or not even whiny. Let's not even call them whiny, because they're mean well. But I was on your show, and you made some fucking fantastic points about not just long game shit. Fuck 4D chess. I know it's called that, and that has its own tropes or whatever. But you made a salient points about psyops and about why we might perceive certain things. And every single point you made, I was like, oh yeah, why did they start pushing this? Why did fucking BS or CNN start pushing, oh, it's going to be a massacre? Like, and I was like, this dude, again, and I've always known you're incredibly smart and capable thinker. But like, I was like, I need you to come tell. I already posted by the way, you have been on Instagram. I posted a 10-minute clip of you essentially making that breakdown. And and people fucking ate it right up. I'll introduce you to a couple of different people. One, this girl named Propaganda Fluent out of Southern Cal. She's amazing, and she was like, all she posts about is propaganda and psyops, and like, you know, how to make people do what you want me to do and want them to do, and how they, the lizards, essentially use us. And anyway, I just wanted to say, number one, thank you for coming on. Number two, can you please give us let's first start with well, actually, I mean, you're the fucking expert on this shit. So what are your thoughts on where you want to start? I think maybe just like leading up to the election, what was important, what you thought, what you predicted as somebody who's very who sees the big picture of all this stuff.
Yeah, so prior to the election, my predictions were that we were going to get plus 15 in the House and that we were going to get plus 2 in the Senate. Now, you can argue on the Senate whether I was wrong or right, because I think there's enough theft being displayed, especially right now in Arizona. And in fact, Arizona is not a done deal. Can you believe we're saying that? Literally, this is now 2 weeks after the election. And just today, the official, unofficial finish of to the unofficial election was announced, like the final ballots, like, okay, we don't have any more ballots 2 fucking weeks later. Meanwhile, Florida counted what, 3 times the votes in the single day. You know what I mean? Like New York, for Christ's sake, took 1 day. I mean, you know, you're trying to tell me they can count votes in New York, where we can argue that these people can't find the way out of their own fucking doorways. And yet in Arizona, it took you 2 weeks to count 1 fucking county. Literally, that's what we're talking about. 1 fucking county. So let's push that to the side. The Attorney General, by the way, has announced, we're not certifying this election. We're coming. We want all the receipts. And then you got 4 counties board of supervisors saying, yeah, we're not certifying it either. We want receipts. You guys are disenfranchising us. So lots still to play for in Arizona. So my point in bringing it up, though, is to set it aside and let's just accept the fact that I was wrong. I was wrong by 2 on the Senate side. And still with 1 left to play, which is Georgia. So I could end up at being off by 1. 435 elections on the House side. At maximum, I'll be off is by 4. That's the maximum. So what my point in bringing this up is that I predicted it exactly where it ended up. And yet, right before the election, suddenly, you got everybody in the mainstream media trying to tell everybody, oh my God, the Republicans are going to win everything. Holy shit, this is a massive tidal wave. It is a tsunami. It's going to be a wipeout. All for them to say on election day, oh, there's nothing to see here. Republicans didn't win anything. The Democrats, they held serve. Yeah, this is great. Oh, the Democrats are winning everything now. You see, and this set that psyop. This is what I was talking about with that psyop. This set in the minds to even America First Republicans sitting there going, I can't believe we lost this fucking election. No, what you can't believe is you allowed yourself to set your expectations up to unrealistic levels. And now you have to blame somebody else for that. But that all happened in your own head, because I was out for months predicting these things. Like, I'm reading the polls. I'm telling the people what's going on. I'm telling them what's these salient points. Where are we making gains? And to your point of what you talked about with this was a red wave. It was exactly the predicted red wave. And for those in your audience right now are going, oh my God, this guy's full of shit. He's just trying to sell us a narrative. Let me point out, we took a seat in Oregon. Anybody in your audience on their bingo card have the Pacific Northwest was in play? Anybody? I did. But did you? No. Pacific Northwest is in play, guys. In fact, in Washington, they closed the gap from the previous election to this one by 10 points in one election cycle. So let's pretend, for example, in the last election that somebody from the Democrats, they won their seat by 60 to 40. In this election, it went by 10-point swing, right? So that means that they lost those 10 points and they won by like 50-49. Okay. Right. To close a gap by 10 points is almost unheard of, especially when you start talking generic numbers.
And that's again, to reiterate your point, that's in Oregon.
Yeah, it's in Oregon. It's in Washington. It's in the Pacific Northwest. the whole Pacific Northwest is in play, guys. Like, so we got Seattle, Washington at the same time as primaries were going on. Seattle, Washington hired a Republican district attorney. Vancouver, Washington flipped their entire school board to Republican.
In Vancouver, guys,
Washington.
I used to live in Portland, Oregon. You can throw a rock from Vancouver, Washington, and hit Portland, Oregon. This is a very blue area in a blue ass state, and yet in there they flipped the school board, the entire school board.
The entire school board, yes, just like Miami-Dade County. Yeah, same exact parallels. So we haven't even gotten over to Florida yet. We're starting over here on the West Coast, right? So we're talking that we got a red Republican seat there. Now let's start talking House races. House races, I think we picked up 3 or 4 in Oregon. So again, closing the gap. They broke the supermajority in Oregon. This hasn't happened in decades. So they broke the supermajority in Oregon. You can go right across the map. How many people are complaining about Wisconsin's election fraud today? Anybody? No. You know why? Because they fixed that shit. Why'd that happen? Because of the Republicans that increased their fucking presence. Okay. So did we not gain? Is that not a huge fucking win? You ain't bitching about it, so it must not have happened, right? Start looking. So we start in Pacific Northwest. We move down to California. California, some more fucking cheating happened, but they almost elected a Republican to the LA mayor. Okay. They gained in the California House legislature, the state house. We literally fired Nancy Pelosi, everybody. I mean, if you don't count that as a win all by itself, then you ain't been paying attention to politics. Let's keep moving across the desert there, and we move all the way over to New York, state of New York. We picked up, I think it's 4 seats, maybe 6 now in New York. The state of New York flipped 4 seats to red in the state of New York. That's huge. This is huge. Where else did we flip it? I can't remember now. There's other things that were less important to me personally.
Right.
But again, let's skip Pennsylvania for the second, because there's still shit going on there as well, with court cases, cheating, governors being involved, things like this. So there's things that are going to happen there. We go down to Florida, where they essentially kicked the Democrats out of the state. I think they have something like 6 or 8 seats left in the whole state. Like, I mean, they completely flipped Miami-Dade County, not just the school district, not just the school board, but they elected a Republican as their representative, as well as Ron DeSantis. So we've completely flipped an entirely blue stronghold district to red. I mean, these are big fucking things that are happening, but people want to discount what happened because they wanted more. So here's what I have to say for those people that wanted more. Let's pretend right now, you're going to have to do some math here. I know I'm Asian and I do math easier than you do, but if you look at this from across the nation, if we would have got and won every single race that was possible for us to win in this country, we still would not have the votes in Congress to get anything done. That should be your wake-up call. Yeah. So
what do you mean?
If you look at it, and let's say we won everything. Let's say that the House was 230 Republican. Okay. That's not a supermajority. Still could, we could easily do the same thing as we do now and as then. Get legislation out of the House and get it to the Senate. And there's the rub. So the maximum amount of seats we could have picked up in this election would have been Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. That's 3 seats. So instead of my +2, it would have been +3. Now, that's still not 60, number one. You have to get 60 senators to override a veto of the dipshit in the White House. Okay? So we're not getting there. Once again, let's prove something else. The establishment rhinos led by Mitch McConnell will still be in power. You know how I know that? Because we finally had a vote challenge to his leadership in the Senate for the first time in his entire career, I might add, but only 10 senators voted against him. So what does that tell you? That even +3, only 13 would have voted against him. What does that tell you? Mitch McConnell still controls 3/4 of the caucus, and he would have not been going anywhere. So you're still fighting the establishment, which you would have been fighting if we would have won everything. You're still fighting the dipshit in the White House who can't even remember his wife's name in the White. He's going to veto everything that is our way. So we still have a status quo thing. No matter what happened in this election, my version, which did come to pass, or their fantasy version, which still would have changed nothing. And so you're being upset that we made huge gains across the country, but we didn't get all the wins that we wanted. And yet all those wins could have still not given us a fucking different outcome. And the outcome is this. We now have enough power to just obstruct. Get in the fucking way. No. We control the purse strings in the House. Senate doesn't control the purse strings. Doesn't matter. Mitch McConnell, sit on a dick and spin. Okay? The pressure that we're able to put on on the Republican House side and Kevin McCarthy specifically is already showing its dividends. How do I say that? Because 2 days ago, we had Jim Jordan come out and tell the world we're investigating Joe Biden with his suspicious activity reports from major U.S. banks like Wells Fargo that show not only were they violating the law and making suspicious bribery payments, according to the banks, not according to us, and Joe Biden obstructed Congress's ability to view those suspicious activity reports. And we have the Hunter Biden laptop, which proves Joe Biden was a partner in Hunter Biden's business, did know about the business dealings, and in fact, was even given keys to the office. This is a fire press conference Jim Jordan and Comer put out there. And they specifically, Comer was so hilarious because the press wanted to shift. Quick, we got to turn directions about J6 and this other thing. He specifically said directly to them, we're not investigating Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is a piece of shit. And if you don't believe that, you don't even belong in this room. We're going after Joe Biden for what he's done. Okay? This has nothing to do with Hunter Biden. It's already an accepted fact that he's a bad guy. So that's fire just in itself, the statement alone. But now let's move into fireball number 2, Marjorie Taylor Greene, arguably America First queen of the Congress, queen of the House, is running the investigation directly into money laundering by the congressional and government employees via giving money to the Ukraine in turn taking $4 billion of that money, giving it to FTX in turn being the second largest Democrat donor in the country next to George fucking Soros. Marjorie Taylor Greene is heading up that investigation of fire. And even though it's going to, and she said, and even maybe a couple Republicans, but we're coming after all of you. Now, what is this important for your audience to know? Do not expect a single prosecution. Do not expect a single person going to jail. Okay? Again, people setting their fucking expectations to places that cannot happen because who controls the DOJ? Hyper-partisan Merrick fucking Garland and the Biden crime syndicate themselves. This is about exposure. This is about making sure every single independent in this country has the evidence on the congressional record, live in front of the cameras, in your face. If you want to fucking deny it, I don't give a fuck. It's right here. But that's you putting your head in the sand. It's not a failure of the Congress to expose it to the people.
Whew. Well done. God damn it. All right. Couple of things. Now, what do you feel? Let's go back to the election psyop situation. What do you feel? And you talked about it a little bit on Pirate Radio. The show is on Friday nights at, I don't know, Hawaii time. It's at 11:30 Eastern. 11:30 Eastern. It's a fucking incredible show. The fact that just to get, okay, my fucking fans, if you're listening right now, I always pride myself as being the only show. I always say it as like a fucking throwaway line. It's the only show you can talk about Trump and eating ass on the same television, on the same program. Okay. No, Pirate Radio's up there. Pirate Radio definitely gets more into the weeds. Okay. But there's some filthy bastards in there. I think I say nigger more often, but that's okay. We all have our strengths. You got it. We dunk in different ways.
Something's happening to my connection. I think we just lost Peter. I'm going to have to step out of here.
Yeah. It's going to be Asian hate time up in this motherfucker. Now, just the fact that he said fucking, what was his name? The turtle, sit on a dick and spin. I mean, you can't get that. You can't get that on fucking Fox. Fuck Fox. No, you can't get on and Steven Crowder. You can't get on all these shows. This is the fucking. These are the people. We're the underground, the real fucking real McCoys. God damn it. Anyway, what do you feel is the intention behind the media / Democrat psyop of getting Republican voters hopes up?
Well, to me, it's very simple. Here's the play. The establishment is trying to make America First go away. They want us to stop. They want us to feel defeated. They want to sell the narrative that our ideas don't sell. We're not viable. Our candidates can't win. That's the idea behind the narrative. They did the same play to the Tea Party. They did the same play to Ron Paul supporters. They look, this is not new. This is standard political operations 101 type stuff. This, and again, for your audience, I tell my audience all the time, but for your audience, I realize it's dense as fuck, and you guys hate density around here. I can promise you that on Peter's show. But the book The Prince by Machiavelli is still the political Bible to this day. Okay. So if you don't read that, if you don't at least listen to the audio version on YouTube, you really have no idea what these people are trying to do. So what I try to do is take what I know, translate it into language that's both entertaining and easy to understand. So what they're trying to do is minimize us, and they want us to do it in our own minds. That's what's behind all of this. It's what's behind the push of Ron DeSantis. Now, we've been covering this for 18 months. Most people are, maybe know about it for the last 18 days. Okay, we've been covering it for 18 months. We saw when it started. We know where it's coming from. And I don't have a problem naming names, Dave Bossie, you piece of shit. But, this is what they're trying to do. The establishment wants control. The uniparty wants control. They want you to diminish yourself and go back into your little hole and let us win and control these elections. So that the psyop is to push you into a point where instead of feeling the joy that you properly should feel with this election, you now feel depressed. You feel like we didn't achieve anything. And when you start to feel a little depressed about these things, you start to get angry. And when you get angry, it's very easy to push you around, right? So then they back up that anger by saying it's Donald Trump's fault, man. You guys don't understand how bad of a person he is. You don't understand how you guys, the policies you're standing up for, you're following this fucking, egomaniac into a desert where there's no water. And people are going to start falling for that shit. Why? Because they've defeated themselves in their mind. Like you have to, and I'm not a Pollyanna person, don't get me wrong, but pessimism kills. You have to have a realistic outlook on your life and a good optimistic viewpoint, or you will kill yourself and you won't even realize you're killing yourself. In fact, I'm probably going to piss off half of your audience right now, but I just fucking smacked the shit out of a bunch of libertarians all over Spaces and on Twitter because I'm trying to point out, look, your little fucking stand on idealism, my ideals, I can't vote for Donald Trump. Okay, you dipshit. There's only a binary choice here. You know for a fact your candidate has no shot in hell of even finding a porta potty to piss in with the number of votes he's got. But you're going to fucking spend 3% of the vote on a guy you know has no chance to win. What do you think that's actually doing? You're voting for the fucking Democrats, you dummy, because you agree with us on 80% of the issues. 80%. And as Ronald Reagan famously said, someone who votes with me 80% of the time is 100% of the time my friend. But you're too stupid to see that your little my ideals stand, that's not courage. That's cowardice. You are afraid to do the dirty work, to get out there and fight for what's real. Because if you vote for a fucking libertarian, you're doing nothing but taking votes that should rightfully be with the America First agenda, I'll remind you, and instead of the Democrat. And what you're doing by giving the Democrats the ball is a complete repudiation of all of your ideals. Not just 20% of them, all of them.
Right. Because the uniparty, again, the cultural big, 5,000 foot view, bureaucracy's job is to create more bureaucracy. bureaucracy's job, government's job is to serve itself. I tweeted it today. I don't like Trump because I like Trump. I like Trump because I hate government. That's the fucking reality. Anybody who's going to give me the best shot to shrink government, sorry, libertarians, you're pretty much fucking conservatives. Sorry, conservatives, you're pretty much independents. Let's fucking coalesce this shit. I understand they believe in God and you like smoking weed and that's hooray. You don't have to fucking believe in God, son. Leave me the fuck alone is the marching song of MAGA. Leave me the fuck alone. Get the fuck out of my wallet. Get the fuck out of my mouth of what I'm supposed to say. Get the fuck out of my mind. Stop telling my fucking kids that they can cut off their fucking dicks. You know, that's libertarian and a goddamn, I mean, come on. Fuck the man is what MAGA is. And the reason, I mean, I like Trump, yes. You know, I like the motherfucker. He's, you know, foul mouth, over the top, New York piece of shit, love him to death. But whoever is going to advance our movement, that's who I'm behind. And when you brought up that point, I literally posted it right afterwards. I was like, I was so ready to give up Trump. And then I was just on a show with a bunch of motherfuckers. And now I'm thinking, oh shit, am I back in Trump village? Damn it. And not damn it in like, damn it, I hate it. But damn it in that, oh shit, I may have gotten played. Oh shit, this might have been somebody tugging on my heartstrings knowing how to get there. I felt the same thing every single time. And I've talked about this. Any single time that and I do not mean false flag as if, you know, like maybe you might framework Alex Jones talking about Sandy Hook. Listen to what I'm saying. Any tragedy that immediately gets, oh, Joe Biden now wants to, like Colorado Springs the other day. Now Joe Biden, again, he was already calling for fucking an assault weapon ban 3 weeks ago when someone killed somebody with a handgun. I'll fucking repeat that. Somebody killed people with handguns, and he's like, we need an assault weapon ban. You fucking idiots. Anyway, so anytime something like that happens, I get a feeling in my gut. And it's not a feeling that, oh no, someone thinks something I don't want them to think. I get a weird, energetic, this is not, I feel like I'm getting touch funny right now. Okay. there's some diet molestation happening. All right. That's fucking mind shit. I felt the same way during January 6th. I felt the same way with George Floyd riots. I felt the same way with fucking Will Stupid fucking Smith slapping Chris Rock. I smell bullshit, and I've trained my belly to pay attention to that and my mind to go, oh, I know what that is. Oh, they're trying to manipulate me. Unplug or lean in and you know, and fucking troll, but like unplug, let me sit with it and then come back in a day. But yeah, that's why it was bad news, because I'm like, oh no, did I just get played? Shit, you know, all right. Well, okay. At least it only lasted like a couple of days. All right. You know,
yeah.
Although, I mean, I will say, well, we don't need to talk about it, but there are still a few things that fucking bother me that Trump did. But like you're saying, 80%, I'm fucking absolutely on the way.
Yeah, no, look, your point on Will Smith. I mean, I know you're a man. I'm a man. First of all, if you're going to slap another man, who fucking tries to come from Brooklyn telegraphing the shit that it's coming? And then with that full arm fucking swing, doesn't knock that skinny little fuck on his ass. Like, come on. You telling me this isn't a fucking stage fucking slap? Nobody in the right fucking mind. Girls don't slap you like that. If a girl did that and actually got it into land, your ass is on the ground. Especially if you weigh $105.
Not just that. His fake teeth didn't go flying. Not just that. Not just that. And I saw this right away. The Oscars is a this is Hollywood. Okay. And I don't mean that like, well, they can fake shit, so they will fake shit. Here's what I mean. I'm saying they've got a lot of money, a lot of power. They are good at what they do. The live stream of the Oscars is on I think a 7-minute delay, so they can, just in case someone says something that Peter Feliciano says. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they do. And yet, have you ever seen a second camera angle of that fucking slap? The answer is goddamn no. You did not say. There is one fucking camera angle, and it's you way the fuck out here. Come on.
Yeah, no, look, they're manipulating you all the time. And you have to understand that even as a Trump supporter, even as an America First person, and even as a conservatish fan that thinks that they're fully in control of themselves, you are not. I am not. I have to constantly check myself to exactly what Peter just said, that he had to check himself, because neurolinguistic programming happens. You have no conscious control over your lizard brain, and your lizard brain is taking in all of this marketing and advertising and conversation stuff at a constant rate. They know exactly how to get into your brain. It's not about the consciousness. It's about overriding the consciousness. This has been true for marketing forever. Like, remember World War II, they won by fucking a bunch of blow up tanks and dolls out in a field. Like, they sucked the Germans into believing that shit was real. Like, look at why do we have laws against subliminal messages in video programming? Because they did that shit. Okay, and it worked. Okay, like they've been studying this a long time, and so you have to check yourself and you almost deprogram yourself daily through some type of function, primarily through thinking about this. Like, do I really think this? Is this really my thought? Where does it come from? What are the bases for this? Where's the data supporting this feeling? Right. So it's probably the most important aspect to understand the world. And one of the things that I tell people a lot is, if you ever want to read a leftist news story and you're like, how the fuck do you get all your data? Well, here's what you do. Just open up the New York Times, and as you're reading it, just throw away every single adjective or adverb in the entire piece. Just throw them all out the door. Anytime you see an adjective or an adverb, just ignore it. And just look at the freaking prepositions, the nouns, and the action verbs. If you just do that, you'll get the actual data in the story. And oftentimes you'll find out that's 2 sentences. It's like, hey, 2 sentences. The tank was blue.
And even the fucking titles. I love how they'll just throw out that Trump was, anti-Semitic. They'll just throw anti-Semite, and as if they're talking about the sky is blue. You know what I mean? Like, besides the fact that, by the way, just as a side note, fucking, I follow a couple motherfuckers who think he's fucking bought and paid for by fucking Israel. Okay, so what the fuck? You know what I mean? Little nuance, kids. Anyway, okay, so we're talking about this. We're talking about this. Is my light going dimmer? Oh, I just bought this fucking thing. Hang on, everybody. Oh, now it's getting really dim.
You bought the cheap batteries.
I just charged it. You know what?
You bought the Kmart fucking batteries.
I blame the fucking Chinese for this, James. It's your fucking fault. Hang on. Let me turn on this one. That might help. All right. Anyway, all right. So we talked about the PSYOP. We talked about what the intention behind the PSYOP is. I want to also hear about Arizona. Now, for those who don't know, you do. But just in case you don't, Kari Lake had fucking a huge groundswell of support. If we just take, and I know a lot of times a lot of people follow Kari Lake on Instagram who are not from Arizona and who are not voting whatever. Fine. But Kari Lake has a day of election, day 2 or 3 days after election, had 425,000 followers, 425, and Katie fucking Hobbs had 7,000. Katie Hobbs to debate. Okay. Katie Hobbs literally insulted the Latino delegation, her own fucking people, like asking her, so what have you learned from Latinos? Like, well, I know like a good taco recipe. Like, not far from the truth. That's not even hyperbole. No, she's a dumb white bitch. But anyway, but the reality is there's no fucking way for anyone to see, oh, Katie Hobbs won. Fuck all the videos, all the whatever. which are coming out, but I'm saying there's no way, just like Joe Biden in 2020. So what's going on with Arizona, please?
Well, first, let me say something about your points, because I think they're so valid that people need some statistics to back it up. So let's give them some statistics. On election day, the Kari Lake Republican supporters showed up 70% of their voters. Democrats showed up 17%. And yet the day of election votes broke approximately even.
Can you repeat that?
Who's
So you're talking about registered voters,
right,
versus and who showed up in person. Okay.
Right. So turning out your vote. So you show up with 70% day of the Republican, and you only show up 17% of the Democrat. Explain how the votes break even. So you're trying to tell me that Republicans in this state of affairs rejected Kari Lake by 4 times the opposite direction of all the in-state polling combined. It's numerically impossible. It is numerically impossible for this to happen. And yet that's what they're trying to sell us. So thankfully in Arizona, you've got 4 counties right now refusing to certify the election. You've got the assistant attorney general that runs the election bureau refusing to certify the election and demanding all of the evidence and documentations. You've got the attorney general saying, specifically on camera in the interviews, these the board of supervisors and the Maricopa County what's his name Bill Gates admitted in person that they broke the law and they disenfranchised voters. At least a minimum 7% of the Maricopa County voters were disenfranchised and not allowed to vote due to their malfunctions and malfeasance. So,
and again, Maricopa is the greatest. It's the largest.
It's the largest county in Arizona, the largest single county in Arizona. It encompasses basically Phoenix. So there's going to be some things happening still here. Arizona is still in the air. And I said this, by the way, even prior to the election, and definitely the day of the election. I said that even if Kari Lake is deemed the winner, we're still not out of the woods yet. We might get it as a Christmas present, because this is how their process is taking. Like, they got to go through all of this crap and lawsuits and recounts and deciding and evidence. And because we by the way, a lot of people don't know there's going to be at least a myriad, at least 4 different recounts going on in the state, just over because elections were deemed to be less than 0.05% separations. So they got to recount it all again anyways.
What is that? What is separations? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so somebody, you know how you hear elections win 51-49, those kinds?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it was basically 49.70% against 0.75%. So it's less than 0.05% separation between the votes. So basically you're talking about the elections were decided by a couple hundred votes.
Right.
So but it's based on percentage because it's based on volume. So it's not a direct count number that triggers automatic recounts. It's a percentage number that triggers automatic recounts. And so there's at least 4 of those that happen in the state. So the whole election's getting recounted anyways, on top of everything else. So I'm telling you, we'll be lucky if we get this done by Christmas. And you've already got counties that are refusing to even look at certifying their counties until November 28th. And the state's supposed to certify on December 5th. Well, the recounts alone are going to take us past December 5th. So this isn't going to happen.
Now, the other thing, though, is you also talked about, well, let's not get into that yet. Let's not get into that. Well, actually, fuck it. Let's just go with it. We might come back to that. You also said that regardless of what happens, Arizona elections will never be the same. Can you elaborate on what that means?
Yeah, sure. So enough Republicans got through the state legislature that America First people are going to be running the state legislature, that in the state legislature is the body that's in charge of election law and rules and procedures. They're in charge of the elections. That's constitutional. That's the way it is. And we got some backup in the way of the Supreme Court right now, because they actually have a case. It's the North Carolina case before them that focuses on the independent legislature theory, which essentially falls directly in line with what the Constitution says. And I can make it kind of easy for everybody in this regard. Is that in the Constitution, it clearly defines that the state, Article 2 says the state legislature is responsible for all of the elections. Okay. The only enumerated power to the federal Congress is the setting the day of the election. That's it. Okay. That's what's in the Constitution. Now, notice also elsewhere in the Constitution, it says that anything not enumerated, means spelled out in this Constitution, are left to the states or the people themselves. Now, notice what word was missing from what I just said. Legislature. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they're talking and they're capable of talking about it's left to state governance to decide whatever that governance is. But in the case of elections, it clearly defines the state legislature. There's no executive branch input into the election process. In other words, the governor doesn't have to sign off on what the state legislature says the election laws are. It is purely a state legislature decision. So that is what's before the Supreme Court. Why is that important? Because that removes the fucking rhinos and the dem idiots out of the process. Fuck you. You're in an executive branch, the secretary of state. Fuck you. This is what we're telling you to do. Either do it or go to prison. Okay? Go suck a dick. That is what the power is that's being transferred, and being more specific about it. A lot of people don't understand. The courts have no place in the elections, and for most of our history did not have any role in the elections. This was an outgrowth of the parties themselves trying to sell the American people security and belief in the election process. They're the ones that involve the courts. You can blame the rhinos and the Democrats, and you can largely blame it to starting with the Nixon Watergate thing, and then continue that to the New Jersey case where the Republicans were accused of violating everybody's civil rights. And so instead of going to court and proving them you're fucked, they decided to enter into a consent decree with the Democrats, thereby giving away the Republicans' rights to do anything with election integrity measures without court approval. So it was the Republican Party itself that screwed itself all the way from 1981 until 2017. That's how long it took. And so now that's why you're seeing all of these procedures are so locked into the government, and why the Republicans are so ineffectual at doing anything about it, because they've been fucking themselves for so long. We don't even have anybody in leadership that even knows how to think about it.
Now, you're very good. Like when it comes to somebody who, you know, and again, we all trust our guts. We all figure it out. We all change. And because it's the same thing that we were talking about a second ago, you know, yes, I'm fucking pro-Trump, but you know, this movement needs to be bigger than one person. It always has been, and it always needs to be.
Yeah.
Not just in case he is or will be compromised, but I'm saying even if the motherfucker passes a goddamn way, you know what I mean? Like he's an old man. Like we need to have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we need to have a bench, right? And that's what this primary proved, is that we do have a bench, and that's what this election proved, is we do have a bench. Like, I mean, you could look right now, if I were to just judge America First on our bench strength, well, we got Carrie Lake, we got Ron DeSantis, we got Kristi Noem, we got Sarah Palin, we've got some bigger names out there that are right there at the top of the bench. And then you've got tons of lesser known people like, you know, or, well, I shouldn't say lesser known, because I'm going to throw in Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Jim Jordan. So those are pretty household names. You've got people like Comer, who nobody fucking knows. Until I said his name tonight on my show, not a single member of your audience even knew who the fuck the guy was. No. Right? But to know that he's bringing the fucking heat with Jim Jordan, by next week or so, people are going to know who Comer is. Right? He's in the house. He's fighting for people. You got Andy Biggs, who's still mounting a challenge against McCarthy in the House. So that's still viable and in play. So we got Lee Zeldin, who in New York almost won the fucking governorship in New York,
which is fucking crazy, by the way.
Right, and he's been unapologetically America first. Even to try to win New York, he was like, "Fuck you, I'm with Trump." In New York.
No, right. He didn't soft shoe. I'm not walking away. He didn't sell. He didn't say he didn't distance himself. He didn't do any of that shit. You know what I mean? So, okay. So there are people that you trust. There are people that okay. Now, when it comes to moving forward, regardless of Arizona, what I like, and again, besides all of those wins, because you made very salient points both on private radio as well as on this show, and if you don't fucking follow him on Twitter, you're a piece of shit. Okay. But here's the thing. I also want to talk about the cultural win because that's my forte anyway. The bottom line is, like we've talked about on your show, on this show, even today, trust your gut, kids. Trust your gut. If you have been, they really don't want you to be happy. They really don't want you to feel like this is doable. They really don't want you. They want you to feel upset, right? But the fact that Oregon, Washington, Florida's, like he said, completely wiped the fuck out. The fact that all of this shit, and not just that, can we also talk about you know what? Yeah, I'll one tangent at a time. The cultural win of, like fucking Breitbart said, politics is downstream from culture. You change culture first and adjust politics. Fucking nobody likes Beto O'Rourke outside of Texas. Fucking nobody, except for
nobody in Texas either.
And except for a couple of white fucking douchebags in the Congress area of Austin, Texas, in the Congress district. Okay, it's a street on 6th Avenue, and a couple of suburban douchebags who have some of these fucking liberal douchebags still have signs up. In this house, we believe science is real and Black Lives Matter. What is this, 2008? Fucking turds. Fuck it. They're so out of touch, these fucking white liberals. Anyway, nobody likes Beto O'Rourke. And it was proven not just in our election, but I'm saying out there, it was proven. Now, and as far as the trusting ourselves thing, I started a new book, but thank you for reminding me because I want to get into the fucking Constitution more. The fact that I don't know the fucking I haven't read the goddamn thing. I'm a bad person. So
I'll send you a copy. Fuck, I got 3 right here on my desk.
You literally have you have. I love my show. Thank you so much, James. But I'm reading a book on Napoleon. I'm just at the start of it. And obviously he's got tons of whatever. He's a complicated motherfucker. He's whatever, advancing empire, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things he said, and he was a soldier. He was a fucking general. He was he was the fucking military mind. One of the military minds of the last long fucking time. And he studied, Alexander the fucking Great and Caesar and all these motherfuckers. And one thing that jumped out tonight when I was listening was that he said most problems, like if you're in a battle, most problems can be fixed with morale. Most problems can be fixed with morale. If we're down in the dumps, I'm easily led astray because I'm going by emotions instead of logic. I'm going by emotions, and I'm instead of. So if we sit back and look at, okay, win. If we sit back and look at the long game, if we sit back and go, oh, I mean, I personally, even though I think obviously there was cheating in New York, I had my expectations already ready to go that Kathy fucking Hochul was going to get reelected. I adjusted my expectations to not hang my okayness, my spiritual fucking state on whether or not that bitch won. You know what I mean? And not even that, not even if fucking Beto won, which wasn't going to happen. But even if Beto won, I was like, I kind of adjusted a few days before. I was like, let me just adjust that. I don't want to get like, oh, it all hangs on one, because I know what happens when I get is I get led astray. You know what I mean? So morale is important, and we need to talk about the wins and not delude ourselves, but we need to be awake and aware to where we're being fucking played, gaslit and played, you know.
Yeah, let me give you some information that'll support this, what you just said 100%. Let's look at two different states, what happened with the Latino voters. Florida increased their Latino turnout for Ron DeSantis, America First policy follower, by 30%. Now let's conversely look at Los Angeles, California. Here's what happened in California. The Latinos did not turn out by around 30% for the Democrat. But they also didn't turn out for the Republican in California. You know why? What's the difference? America First. That's the difference. See, Latinos are all down with us talking to them about what's best for them and everybody combined. But they're not down with the traditional Republican bullshit because they have no trust for these establishment fucksticks. What happened in California is the Republicans tried to run on this soft, squishy middle ground and ended up sounding exactly like the GOP establishment of yesteryear. And so even though the Democrats are complete whack job fucking buffoons, the Latinos said, well, we're not voting for the fucking buffoons, but we're not voting for these slimy bastards either. So we're just going to stay home, eat our taco bowls, and watch some fucking news. I mean, you know, I had to throw that in there.
And watch Selena. Mire, Sábado Gigante. Ay.
You know, so that's what's demonstrating to you how important our track is. This America First thing is not going away. We ran this vote coast to coast, up and down this country. And we proved it in the primaries, got rid of 8 out of 10 of the fucking impeachment voters, got rid of rhinos left, right, and center all over the place, including New Hampshire, where we put up General Bolduc. Now, people are going to try to use the General Bolduc race to say, see, you America First crazy fucks can't win elections. Meantime, they're going to try to never talk about the fact that Mitch McConnell tanked that election and when a 50-50 race pulled $6 million out of the race. He's not going to tell you he pulled $20 million out of Herschel Walker's race. He's not going to tell you that he spent $9 million trying to pimp out the bitch Lisa Murkowski, who clearly lost heads up against Kelly Tshibaka, but because they have this ranked choice voting thing over there, that bitch is probably going back to the Senate. Now, who was funding against America First? The establishment cocksuckers, Mitch Romney, not Mitt. What the fuck? Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. For Christ's sake, get it out, James. Get it out.
It's okay.
These guys cost the election.
Also, can you elaborate? I know I read about it. Not only is FTX in a bit of a fucking, obviously number one, you know, the number 2 Democrat donator, but didn't McConnell, or was it McCarthy, get some money from FTX
both of them.
As well?
From what we understand right now, both of them did. But the Republicans involved make up something like, if I recall right, it's less than 2% of all the political donations went to Republicans, if you look at it on the timeline. So it's going to affect a handful of Republicans who, quote, took money, but they all happen to be in leadership positions. So good. Fuck them. And by the way, who's leading the fight? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Does she owe Kevin McCarthy anything? No. She owes him a dick in the ass. That's it. And she definitely don't owe anything to anybody in the Senate, because universally those GOP scumbags allowed her to be removed from her committee chairmans. Now, having said that, her being removed, it's now going to pay dividends. You know why? Because now, again, Why is it important how much pressure we America Firsters are putting on Kevin McCarthy? Kevin McCarthy's actually going to say right now that he's got that he's got a pair of nuts in between his legs, and he's going to fire Ilhan Omar. She's not going to be on any of her committees. Fire Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell. They will not be on the intelligence committees. Fuck you. So they won't even be able to leak to their friends in the media any more classified documents. So that's what the political pressure going up and against Kevin McCarthy of saying, you better fucking turn your shit and follow America first, or we're coming after your ass. So it's good shit, man. It's good shit what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, it is really good shit. And also, okay to go a few more minutes, James?
Oh, sure. My wife will, if my wife comes on camera and stabs me, you'll know that we went too long.
Hi, Tina. Actually, earlier, someone said James knows about being slapped because he knows about being slapped by Tina.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I love the fact that in your chat you have somebody named Pussy Monster. Like,
well,
like I don't have any pussy monsters following me. I'll tell you that. But maybe now I will. But we'll see. We'll see how this show goes.
That's my grandma. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. Okay, so let's do two things. Number one, can you talk a little bit, speak a little bit to the psyop around Trump versus DeSantis? And I know I'm making you talk a lot, but I need it. So
no, the psyop is simple. Look, DeSantis, first of all, can't win. He doesn't have the support, but the establishment is supporting him simply to destroy the base. They want you and I at each other's throat. No, Trump is better. No, DeSantis is better. No, Trump is better. That's what they want, because what'll it do is just, they want us to tear ourselves down. They want to start this fight and trying to remove, they all hate Trump, but here's the reality behind DeSantis. DeSantis is doing the right things for the most part. He's a great governor of Florida as it's being displayed now. But let's face it, he would have never even been the governor without Trump. He had to follow the America First agenda to even get elected in the first place. And then as we step these things forward, don't forget, Florida was still shut down for about 3 months, guys. There's plenty of people that want to deny it. Plenty of MAGA people, plenty of America First people, plenty of Republicans that want to deny it. But go back and look at the facts. Florida was shut down for 3 fucking months, okay? He fucking didn't get a clue right away. The only state in this country that actually never shut down, South Dakota, Kristi Noem. Now, that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He was just as confused as most of you. Why? Because the mainstream media was lying to everybody, and gaslighting was fucking the norm. I mean, fuck, the CDC is still trying to gaslight you today by telling you, we didn't stop people from taking ivermectin. We just recommended it. Like, give me a fucking break. It was because you recommended it that there were fucking pharmacies in this country that took that shit away.
And got doctors fucking fired. And it wasn't a recommendation. The fucking, what was it? The CDC or FDA, one of those fucking tweeted, hey, you're not a horse, so don't take ivermectin. You fuck it. Like this condescending, like they're fucking Jon Stewart. You never got, ooh, I hate condescending cocksucking motherfuckers. It turns out, oops.
Yep. Anyway. So Ron DeSantis is not a viable candidate today for for president without the endorsement of Donald Trump. Look, I don't care. You have to learn the lesson, especially from this election cycle. Let's look at Arizona, for example. Every single primary race in the entire state went to an America First candidate, not a rhino amongst them. Kerry Lake won every single county in the state, an unprecedented feat. Again, an America First, unapologetic Trumper. Who runs the world? Donald Trump. Okay. You want to know how? 220, 212 endorsements that won their races and like 19 losses. Yeah. Anybody else got a record like that?
Repeat that, please.
Yeah, it's like 212 or 20 wins from Trump endorsements and only 19 losses. I mean, nobody's got a record like that in anything and in any subject. Fuck, the weathermen are wrong fucking 52% of the time. Like you would think that it would be the opposite, but no, they're wrong 52% of the time. Those are the weathermen. And they got fucking satellites up in space fucking looking at the weather and they still can't get it right. They got fucking cameras flying inside fucking clouds. They still can't predict the weather right. Yet Donald Trump is 212 to 19. He runs this party. Without him, you don't win. And he's proved that over and over and over again. So, somebody put in the chat, you're right, James, I run the world.
Trump, is that you?
So, my only point on this, in closing, on the, not necessarily in closing, because I'm more than happy to stay with you and answer more questions or whatever, is Ron DeSantis is not a viable candidate, especially heads up against Trump. All of the polls show you that, except for the fake push polls that are coming out trying to push you and push you and push this narrative. And why do they want you to feel like we lost this election? They want you to feel like it's Donald Trump's fault. They want you to feel like the people in Washington that can't work with Donald Trump, nothing will get done correctly. And basically trying to make you ignore, which is what gaslighting is, to make you ignore all of the wins we had while he was president. Donald Trump achieved more than his campaign promises, and everybody will agree to that. I mean, everybody. Like, we didn't expect as much winning as he gave us when he was president. So when you look at the facts, to deny that today is pure gaslighting. That's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel defeated, depressed, and that Trump is no longer the way, because they're sick of the fact that they have no power, that Kevin McCarthy doesn't like the fact that in order to get Trump's blessing, he's got to get on a plane and fly to Mar-a-Lago and kiss the fucking ring.
Beautiful. Now, over and over, and this will be our last part here. Everybody subscribe wherever you're listening, or I'll find you and I'll fill your mailbox with jelly. And also go to here. I'm typing it in PLTCS. Oh no, yeah, it's in the chat. Everybody go to @RealPersonPolitics on Twitter, and tavshow.com. Can you every time on this show? I don't think you've maybe said conservative once, maybe once, maybe Republican once, but you said the words America first a lot, right? I like that, not just for the cultural win, because I'm sorry, propaganda is important. But I also want to just hear your perspective, because as I've been on Twitter a lot since Trump came back, and I know Truth Social. I texted a deep Truth Social fan, and I was like, I know, you're a Truth Social person, but yay for Trump coming back on Twitter just in case. And she said that, well, Truth is my home, is my bunker. Twitter is my, whatever. But I really wish he would tweet. Anyway, I'm happy that he's unbanned, at least for the cultural win for free speech.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen a lot of motherfuckers, a lot of Democrat tweets, because the algorithm has shifted now. Oh, so we're seeing more things. Yeah, it's the Wild West. I love it. I fucking love it. And I mean, so often I'll just like literally talk about the fucking culture with. I just love it. I just love somebody going online and just like, if I think, what was it, Call to Activism on Twitter said, like, if more black people bought AR-15s, then Republicans would wanna ban AR-15s, and I just woke up, white boy. Because that's a white intern who wrote that shit. It's a fucking white girl or a white woman trying to fucking bait. Anyway, why did I start going off on that tangent? Oh, because
you hate white women.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, I did resign as the white liberal girl whisperer. I'm no longer going to be dating white liberal girls. I'm done. I've had my fill. I'm done saving bitches. I'm looking for a wife now. Anyway, but here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people tweet all kinds of just super out of touch shit. One of them was this tweet, and it pertains to my point, but one of them said, we don't, Republicans, they're always calling gays weak. I'm like, you don't know any conservatives, do you? Because I don't know one of them. I follow a lot of anti-liberal motherfuckers, and we all like gays. We fucking all like gays. We don't want kids to have fucking unchangeable surgery and hormone, or be told about fucking dick sucking in 3rd grade. But we all, nobody's like anti fucking gay, which, by the way, this whole push about anti fucking marriage shit from the fucking rhinos. Anyway, but I say that to point out they're out of touch. The Democrats are out of touch. Liberals are out of touch with the reality of who we are. And I just want to really, again, point out the fact that you keep saying America first instead of conservative or Republican or whatever, because too many motherfuckers don't differentiate that. So I would like, please, to give me a little bit of a breakdown of what America first means, of what MAGA is to you.
Wow, what a lead up. So, look, to me, excuse me, to me, America First really is embracement of the conservative values.
Some water,
but 100. Yeah, I should have probably drank while you were talking instead of when I'm supposed to be talking. Lack of professionalism, right there, there.
God.
So America First to me is really based on all of the traditional conservative values, with 100% allegiance to the Constitution. Seriously, that is where our freedom is. We want everybody to be free, including you leftist whack job morons. We want you to be free to be idiots. It's up to you to be educated. We don't want suppression of anyone, least of all ourselves. Okay, we don't want to suppress you. That's what you've been doing. They love to tell us that we're fascist over here on the right, while they do all of the fascist shit. Like burn books, cancel people from society, kick them out of their jobs, deny fucking facts. And if you don't go along with their psycho, then you're the one that gets excommunicated from society. So America First really is about freedom for everybody. It's about pushing forth the narratives that every time there is any decision to be made by a politician in any fucking level of government, the first thought should be, does this serve America's interests? And that is really why America First is the title that I've really latched onto, not the least of which is what you talked about with branding, which goes to the PSYOP and the propaganda stuff, right? His branding is very important. And it's arguably why Trump won, is because he was able to brand people that consolidated everything into kind of one thought, just like a meme does, you meme warriors. That's why it was effective, and it's always been effective. When somebody says Nike, you know exactly what they're talking about, because the branding is personified and encapsulated into exactly what a Nike looks like. The same is true when he says Little Marco. Immediately everybody in the fucking planet goes, yeah, he is kind of a little mealy mouth motherfucker, isn't he? And you go, Lion Ted. Everybody kind of goes, yeah, Ted Cruz is a hyperbolic motherfucker. Yep, he spun a little few too many yarns, right? You think about this. He's doing with language what a lot of memers do with pictures. And so this is why this stuff is important. So America First is the branding as well as it is what it means behind it.
Right. That makes sense. I appreciate that. And I do follow a lot of the anti-state motherfuckers, libertarians and whatever. And I appreciate what they're doing and whatever. I really think we're all on the same side. This is not, I'm sorry, but culturally, the thing that they don't understand. Can I also just say, okay, the thing that the liberals don't not, this isn't 1983. You know what I mean? Like, we're not all 100% Jesus people. Like, this is Trump voters, America First voters encapsulate in a huge amount, a huge swath of people from various religions. I mean, in various races. Can we talk about New York? In 2020, much less now, which it was grown. I remember seeing a video online of Brooklyn Hasidic Jews going fucking ham in the streets pro-Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does that. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
Hasid's going fucking ham. You know how they do that shit?
Yeah.
Nobody does that for fucking Biden. Stop. Right? You have fucking Zeldin won, what was it?
47 counties.
47 counties, and in Queens, Asians, overwhelming majority. I think they 7,400 versus 7,100 votes in favor of Zeldin, not Kathy Hochul. Like, that's some interesting shit in fucking deep ass liberal forest hell, right? So again, culturally,
Amish horses had Trump tattoos on their ass.
Who?
Amish horses had Trump tattoos on their ass.
So we've come from a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different things. Even that some dumb fucking bitch tweeted, that gays don't need to, people don't need guns. Gays need to have balls. I'm like, no, gays need to have guns. Do you know how quick that fucking that mass shooting would have been fucking done if some fucking queer picked out a pop, done, fucking done. Nobody dies, or maybe one person, not 5, right?
Yep.
America first is a lot bigger than you think it is, and you need to wake the fuck up because you're being moronic children, but your moronic childrenness is being Biden, like I've talked about, Biden is not an actual liberal. Come on, he ain't a fucking Marxist. He uses Marxism. He uses Democratness. He uses that shit so he can get more fucking cash and power.
It's funny that the left talks about the popular vote, because let me tell you about a very recent popular vote that happened that demonstrates what you're saying. Elon Musk put out a poll that said, should Donald Trump be reinstated to Twitter? 134 million people saw that tweet, and 52% of them said bring Trump back. Now, it's interesting because even those numbers are less than they should be based on what Elon admitted later, about 8 hours later, and I said within 5 minutes of him posting the poll, that it was a bot trap, that he wanted to see what these people would do with their bots. And then here's what's very fucking hilarious. I didn't lose a follower. I got 20,000 of them. Didn't lose a fucking one. Scott Dworkin lost over 5,000 followers by the next day, because that's how many bots were pumping his numbers up. And he was crying about, I lost 5,000 followers because you brought Trump back. No, dipshit, you lost 5,000 followers because they were computers fucking in Taiwan. It's fucking hilarious. So,
and
but this illustrates
computers. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying those numbers illustrate your point that America First is extremely popular. And this is why the left universally is fucking pissed at Elon Musk. Oh, by the way, he brought back Juanita Broaddrick. Oh, by the way, he brought back Project Veritas already. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene. The list is going on and on and on.
And also, by the way, even though I don't fucking barely agree with Louis fucking Farrakhan, he also brought Farrakhan back. Okay. And I support that. I support Donald Trump, Louis Farrakhan, and Kathy Griffin being on fucking Twitter. Not because I agree with everything they say, but because I'm a fucking adult and I want the government. I want big corporations. I want power the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
Well, even from a very personal, selfish point of view, I want to know what my enemy is saying so I can prepare to defend against it. If I know Farrakhan is out there calling for the death of all Asians, I want to fucking know that I better watch out for black guys in bow ties. Hey, fucking bow tie. Go the other way, Tina, quick.
Amazing. Thank you so much, James, for joining me on the show. Why are we coughing so much? Because I'm sick. All right. Leave me the fuck alone, Grandma. Yeah. Everybody, please. Oh, let me go put it in the banner. so I can be official. Go to tavshow.com. Okay. And you also need to go to Twitter and follow Real Person Politics at Real Person Politics. That's James there on Twitter. He's got a weekly show called Pirate Radio, and you also host a number of others on that platform. Ladies of Liberty, Alpha Warrior is also on that as well.
Yeah, well, Alpha comes with you and me on Pirate Radio almost every week. By the way, he got busted at work the other night. That's why he had to get out of there. His boss found him. It was like, oh shit. But yeah, he comes on Pirate Radio. But Ladies of Liberty got Director Mike on there, a bunch of women that you've never heard of, but which have really good insight, and it's fun. I do a hot seat, and I go on all kinds of Twitter spaces throughout the week. Yeah. Twitter, if you guys aren't on Twitter, I'm going to encourage you right now. I think this is very important to really digest and understand. The zeitgeist is controlled by Twitter. The psyop is real, and it happens on Twitter. But the numbers tell you that right now the left is winning the battlefield of Twitter, because they got 47 million U.S. unique daily users, and only 20 million of those are conservatives of all stripes. And so, you're giving away around 30 million to 20 million. So what I'm saying to you is that encourage everybody that's not on Twitter to at least have an account over there and try to log in at least once a day and level the playing field, because of things that are happening over there right now with Elon Musk cleaning house, so to speak. It's making the battlefield less likely that they can lie to the American people that leftism wins, because clearly leftism doesn't win a fucking thing.
Thank you so much, James. Everybody, wherever you're listening, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this, or you're racist. Again, this all comes out of my fucking pocket. I have a couple of followers on fucking Patreon, but this all comes out of my pocket. So if you want to support, at the very least, like, subscribe, and share. Find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, FELICIANO, and on Twitter at Rule62Pete, Rule62Peter. And make sure I just said make sure. I started a sentence without knowing where the fuck I was going. Love y'all very, very much. And I'll go ahead and end the broadcast now.